talk to you today about the Level 5 speech experience. It starts with the bill or the persuasive proposal, and this is one that you can see in the book. And I'm going to do a speech about this proposal, both for and against, just to kind of show you how Monroe's motivated sequence applies to a bill like this. But first, let's look at what you have. We'll have a bill number, so we can number these in class and you know what order they're going in. A short title that just says basically what this bill is about in one sentence, hopefully clearly in one sentence. The authors will be listed. So here we have Gary the Cool Guy is speaking for the bill, and Dr. G.L. Phillips will be against the bill. Whereas clauses you can think of as because clauses, or the justification, something needs to be done, and here's why. Here's my support or some evidence. And I should be able to read this bill, just pick it up and read it, and understand why it could be a good idea based on here's the need and here's the action, or the problem and the solution. So down here in the sections are literally the implemented solution. How do we make this work? Who has to do what, when, where, how? All those things we talked about in the reflective thinking sequence when we talked about problem and implementation. So you're moving from what are the solutions to the problem and how do we implement that here in your sections. Here are examples of the problem, examples of the solution, and implementation. So we'll start with the first speech. It will be a speech for the bill, and I'm going to use Monroe's motivated sequence. 5 steps: attention, need. I'm going to develop a need for this idea or for this proposal. So how do we satisfy the need, which is what we'll write into the proposal? What are the benefits from passing the proposal? And then what action do I want from my audience? And that, of course, will be to vote for the bill in the first speech. So let's start off with the speech for the bill. Let me ask you a simple question. How many of you have ever gone to the doctor, to a physician, and paid them money, either you or your insurance company, because you wanted them to help you feel better? Okay. Now, how many of you have ever gone someplace and paid them money to make you feel worse? Maybe sick and dizzy? Well, my wife does it all the time. She and my children love roller coasters, and we go to Silver Dollar City, and that's the thing they want to go do, ride the roller coasters, especially if there's a new one. And truthfully, they make me sick and dizzy. I don't want to pay to be sick and dizzy, but out of the 4 people in my household, 5 people in my household, 3 of them are now avid roller coaster riders. My youngest joined that group. So how does this apply to anything we're doing here in the city of West Plains? Let me tell you. I'm going to tell you today that we have a need. I'm going to tell you how to satisfy that need by a roller coaster bill, what the benefits we will have. I want you to visualize how much better life will be afterwards, and then I'm going to ask for your action and your support on this bill. First, let's talk about need. We need transportation in West Plains. The number of households having one car, only one car per household, or even none. We're looking at about half of the households in West Plains that have one car or less. So somebody else is going to be needing transportation because it's hard to coordinate with that. Now let's go into a smaller focus here. The elderly people living downtown who don't have transportation because they're living in assisted living. Now there's some new places out further, but especially downtown, there's some places where people can live and they don't have transportation, or they're not driving anymore, or they shouldn't be driving. This is what you see them driving often, and this is what happens when car meets scooter. And on days like this, you can imagine how difficult it would be to drive in a scooter. So we need some transportation and ways to adjust for this. I'm not going to show this, it's way too graphic. Let's talk about the MSU campus. Dormitory students, roughly half, don't have a car, don't have transportation. And when you think about international students, which we're recruiting, especially for our sports teams, a lot of them don't have a car at all. So they need transportation. There's another group of people that need transportation. What's the solution? Right here, roller coaster. And people say, well, you can't have roller coasters in a big city. New York City is as big as they come. They have a roller coaster. Now theirs is primarily for fun. I want to make ours fun and functional. So if you look at the plan, we're going to build a roller coaster that goes from the West Plains Civic Center, which is down near the old community, to the city square, the heart of the city, to the MSU West Plains campus, and then to People's Park, which is a nice place to get off and relax, especially for students who need to get away. And so that gives them some help. And then it will come back. Now, what are the benefits of this? It's transportation for those who need it. It's less automobile traffic, especially downtown, which sometimes is congested. It's less automobile emissions. This congestion, especially when we have big events at the Civic Center, big concert, graduation, something like that, it would be good to park anywhere along the line and just ride the roller coaster in. Benefits to the economy, income from sales of tickets. More people would come to see the downtown area because they want to ride the roller coaster, and then they'll stop and get off and shop and eat. Off-site parking for the Civic Center, as I've mentioned, and it would draw tourists into the community. I could go shop in Mountain Home, or I could go to West Plains, where there's a roller coaster. Hey, let's go to West Plains. It's a twofer. I want you to visualize, if you pass this bill, you could someday be sitting on top of a roller coaster, looking at downtown West Plains and ready to ride. So please vote for bill number 1. And I could ask people besides just vote for the bill, I could ask for contributions, I could ask for support, talk to your neighbors, put out yard signs, things like that. Now, let's talk about the other side. If you have a large group, and there's some people who want to vote or to argue against the bill, that might be a possibility. I'm going to change ties here to become more serious. Okay, I'm not going to completely change ties, but I'm going to at least cover up my tie a little bit. So I could be Dr. G.L. Phillips instead of Gary the Cool Guy. And I will speak against the bill. And again, covering just quickly 5 points of Monroe's motivated sequence, not in a full-blown developed supported speech, but just showing you what are the 5 steps and how would they apply. So starting with the attention getter. How many of you in here have a wallet or a billfold or some sort of a container in your purse or on your body where you keep your money? Show of hands? All right. What I want you to do, we're going to do an activity here. What I want you to do is take that out, take the money out of the wallet or the billfold, put it on the table. I'm going to come around and collect all of that. Then I'm going to go down to the restroom and I'm going to flush it down the toilet. I see that most of you aren't following my request. And I could wonder why. Why aren't you doing that? Maybe it's because you have common sense and you know you don't want to waste your money like that. That would be a bad idea. Well, I'm telling you today that bill number 1 is also a bad idea and a way to waste your money. It's just a little trickier. It's a little harder to see how it plays out here. But let's look at what's going to happen here. And I want to talk to you today about 1, why there is no need for this roller coaster. 2, why this roller coaster is not a good solution, even if there is a need. And 3, what harms it would cause and how those harms are greater than the benefits. Then I'm going to ask for your vote no on bill number 1. So let's start off with the need. We need transportation. Do we? Yes, we do. But that's not really the question. The question is, do we need more transportation? We have Mudbusters, we have the West Plains Taxi, A lot of people that live in the dorm have friends with cars. A lot of elderly people that live downtown have family with cars. Do they need more transportation? Probably not. I think we've got it pretty much covered. If you do think we need more transportation, is this roller coaster the solution? No, it's going to be very expensive and it only goes to a limited number of places. Buying a van and hiring somebody to drive it around for free would be much cheaper and much more efficient and effective than a roller coaster. So that would be a better solution, and that's just one right off the top of my head. This is a bad solution. If you like the solution, if you buy into this whole tourist thing along with transportation, let me tell you what the harms are going to be. First off, the other side argues we need to do this because it's going to improve traffic downtown. Hey, I know a good way to improve traffic downtown. Let's start a major construction project right in front of the businesses downtown. It's going to be loud, noisy, it's going to divert traffic, it's going to cost a lot of money, could be dangerous because it's going to be up in the air and things could be falling. Yes, that will encourage traffic downtown. Notice the sarcasm in my voice there. So we're going to hurt the businesses. As a matter of fact, when the thing opens up to help the businesses, a lot of the businesses may already be closed because they didn't survive the construction process. But even if they didn't, now we're going to encourage shopping downtown by increasing the sales tax downtown. So instead of buying things there, maybe I'll just go to Ava or Gainesville or Mountain Home. That doesn't help. Now we're driving this thing around, and at some point, somebody's going to get hurt. And what happens when people get hurt? They sue. We're in a court case. Now somebody says, hey, judge, this thing's dangerous, and the judge is not sure, so he authorizes an injunction. We're going to shut this thing down until we solve the case and find out if it works or not. It's not running. It's not generating income. We don't have money to maintain it. Now it does actually start to fall apart, and it does become dangerous. At some point in the future, it may be cheaper and less expensive to tear the thing down than to fix it or maintain it. So we tear it down, we're back to where we are right now, except we have spent a whole lot of money or we flushed it down the toilet, politically speaking. Skip all of that, skip the pain, the suffering, the hurt, the expense, the time, putting the businesses out of business, skip all of that by simply voting no on bill number 1.